Okay. Hi, everyone. So today I promised you that uh, this gonna be a really short video because we'll be talking about the second major step of monthly planning cycle, which is supply planning. And the reason why this video is gonna be really short because this step of planning cycle is the most mysterious for us. Well, I'm pretty sure that nobody in GSD knows what's like really going on in supply planning. So we receive uh, quite quite few incidents for this part. And the business process itself is quite complicated and not so easily understandable. So I'm not going to discuss, uh, not going to deliver information which is not clear for me for a long time. So I will just show you the overview of the process and we'll try to describe it somehow on how I understand it. Then we will check like few KBs on supply process. There are literally 3 KBs written by BTS, and all of them are just out of out of understanding area for regular people, to be honest. So I tried to check supply planning, like meaning and steps in the internet, but it was not so easy to understand as well. So clearly you have to be in the context deeply to understand it. But okay, I will stop apologizing now. So last time, sorry guys for this part. I promise next part, factory planning, will be much more concrete. So previously we discussed the demand planning cycle and the finishing point of demand planning step is provide the disaggregated demand or disaggregated requirements for products or planning units to supply module, like for the market. So every market, like after demand planning step finished, every market has some plan for each SKU they produce and sell on how much should be produced, when exactly should it be produced, and so on. So this is the input data for supply. And supply planners, first of all, they need to uh, verify the demand if nothing brings confusion to supply planner guys. Then they need to double check the master data for products in SAP. Also, they need to delete, like make sure that all the past demands, all the past documents are deleted from the system. So, for example, like you have scheduled production of some material, but for some reason it was not executed. Maybe there were some like emergency circumstances, or it was just decided to postpone it, or so on. So for some reason, some processes can be not executed, but they still present in the system, and they can screw up the whole upcoming cycle because system will still consider them and like demands will not be consumed in the correct way. So that's how I see it. So supply planners need to clear the past data, and that's what they do every month. Then they need to check the capacities on all the plants across the market. So like our capacity for production, set some targets. Well, here is like I'm going really vague at this point, so they need to set some targets, make inventory adjustments. On the other side, yes, they need to check the capacity, check the working hours, because you know that every month is like can be different from each other, because like in Russia in January we have some um, public holidays, or like in December we have some public holidays, so even production can be stopped uh, for these days, because they like nobody works during these days. And of course, like December is different from November, because there is different number of working days and so on. So then we need to check the performance or capacity of each line, so each step of production process, and the requirements for labor as well. So are we um, lacking the people, like labor on our plants, or are we going to hire some new staff next month, and so on. So all of this information should be maintained in IBP and considered by supply planners. Then they start running those scripts called heuristics and optimizer. So and they start like simulating like different scenarios. So what if, like, there is such what if principle. So what if we um, load this line to the fullest and leave some I don't know, leave some other lines for new products, or if we will distribute the workload to all the lines equally, and so on. So they run those scripts with different parameters. And so heuristics is the rough planning mode. So it's like um, first step, it is the rough script which provides some like really rough plan for the upcoming period, not taking into account some different small constraints. And after they have this like um, approximate rough plan for production, purchasing, and so on, they like they simulate several scenarios, they choose what they like the most, and they run the second script called optimizer, which provides like much more detailed plan, and much more constraints are considered within the filters of this optimizer script. So they finally get reasonable and feasible plan. Then, of course, it should be reviewed by business, by headquarters of the market, and finally transferred to SAP, so to PPDS for every plant, every market, like the list of requirements, what should be done. So hope it makes at least a little bit of sense for you. So again, yeah, the steps are the consequences steps is as follows. Like they need to maintain master data in SAP related to supply. So that's material master data, also the work center master data, so the machines maintained in SAP. Also plant master data or location master data, it's also called, and so on. So everything should be maintained correctly. Obsolete materials should be obsolete, active materials should be active, and so on. So then they double check if the data is correct in IBP. Well, that's basically true for both like demand and supply steps. Uh, like they both maintain data in SAP and synchronize it with IBP and double check. But for demand planners, the data set required is different. So the data required for supply stage and for demand stage is just the various data set. So yes, after all the master data is synchronized and verified, they need to clean the past orders, which are no longer required. Then they need to set up some DIO targets. Well, please forgive me, I am not sure what it is. And when I watched the slides about that step, in BTS presentation, I understood literally nothing, so I decided not to include those slides. So the supply planning is training is really short, guys, because I don't feel enough confidence to deliver such information, and I'm not sure that it can be delivered in a couple of hours. And finally, I am not sure you will actually need it for, it will actually help you for incident processing, and probably even if I could deliver it in the proper way, it will be just forgotten after a couple of months. So taking all that into account, I decided to cut the supply part to the like minimum. Yes. So after markets set their targets, the forecast is taken from demand planning part as an input. The disaggregated demands for all the SKUs. Then they run this forecast consumption and heuristic. So how do I understand the term forecast consumption? So just imagine that demands, so probably the word demand in your head is also, does also sound quite abstract. So I prefer the word requirement more. So requirement is like a negative value, which you need to cover, right? So it's like a credit. I don't know, like um, you lend some money, and when you lend some money, you have a negative value which you need to cover. So that's what basically demand is. When demand is copied from the demand planning part, um, it is distributed for the upcoming period with a negative value. So it's like you need to produce, for example, 1 ton of, well, not ton, but okay, you need to produce 5 kilo units of Winston Blue, but until they are actually produced, the demand existing in the system is like a negative value. So when you have a demand, it's negative. When you plan the production, so you have like a planned order, production order, you like neutralize it, right, with a positive value. So all actions which create stock which create finished goods on the stock, go with positive value. All requirements go with negative value. So the main target of supply is to provide a plan which will cover all the demands in the most like rational and smart way. So of course, this is an abstract description, and probably you have some questions in your head right now, but there is no like a simple infographics or simple IBP view, which will show you how like positive values absorb negative values. So sorry, there is no like more simple explanation or representative screenshots, but that's what is actually a forecast consumption. So in order to provide this plan for forecast consumption, they need to run the heuristics and then optimizer. Then they check planning alerts. It means, for example, if the automatic algorithm is not able to cover the demands, like physically. For example, you have a factory with one machine and it has a limited capacity, and you have the input data from demand planning step saying that you need to produce more than this machine is able to produce in a month. So you are like physically not able to cover the requirement which was set by the market. So of course, in this case, like if it happens, of course, it's simplified, uh, as much simplified as possible, but we have some constraints. We cannot overcome, we cannot remove them at all. So we have constraints, and if within the framework of those constraints, the production or purchasing or anything is not possible, the system will provide you the alerts. And planners will need to make manual adjustments. And then upload the data to SAP. Well, of course, it happens like automatically after the final final script is run and all the save buttons are pressed. So the information goes straight to SAP. And so in the next slides, you can see how they actually run the data cleansing. So they just, again, they just run the Excel-Adin template, but now it's not demand group of templates, but a supply. So the first supply template, they run it, and they click they choose the key figure data cleansing, provide all the filters like markets, product types, and so on, and they receive a table with values that they need to clean and ensure that everything is fine. Yeah, so as stated here, it is important to clean up past due orders, since IBP only plans into the future and past due orders are not taken into account. So the data cleansing tab has the necessary key figures to support this process. This section covers the steps required to ensure that there are no open orders with requirement date in the past before the supply process starts. Okay, so basically what I was saying just now. So they choose this step, choose the time periods. So for example, it is the past month. And then, so I've got some slides which are not really understandable for us, please believe me. And we have slides for heuristics. So again, not diving deep into the algorithms itself, just checking how they run this algorithm. So in the main menu of in the ribbon of ABP Xceladin, they click application jobs, then they choose this sales and operation review operator, click run, and then again they have a pop-up screen with some filters, like some types of scenarios that can be probably adjusted, some versions. Oh, not sure what does it mean exactly. And planning units. Well, planning units are the products which we sell, so you know that. And then they click next. They select some more additional options, maybe then provide some comments if other planners will check this run of heuristics. And then they see the status. And they probably can check the log of heuristics, but like, believe me, just nobody comes to GSD asking about the log heuristics or anything like that. I will now tell you what are the basic type of incidents related to supply planning. Yeah. So when they finish the run of automatic script, they refresh the template to see the data updated by the system. And yeah, as I said, they can run some simulations to see what if, like, what if we provide these constraints, what if we apply those constraints, and so on. And when they are satisfied with the result, they run the real heuristics, which changes the values, the plan in the system. Yeah, so that's really pretty much it. What I'm going to show you first, I'm going to show you the 3 KBs created by BTS for supply. So the first one here is about, again, some data synchronization, data consistency between IBP and S4. So the problem described in this KB is when, like, some key figures, some indicators like component coefficient growths and component coefficient net are uploaded from SAP to IBP. But I guess, well, I would say not really a user-friendly written article. Sorry, Alina, who wrote it. But yeah, well, I guess the problem described here is when this job fails. So there is a job in CPIDS, of course, which should synchronize the data of some key figures, well, some master data in SAP, which is updated, which is transferred to IBP as key figures, but the job fails for some reason. Well, I guess if there is a KB specific for that type of data, then it must be failing from time to time. So you see that it's quite really difficult to understand what is required, and also again the alerts with the error itself, they are only received by members of CPIDS team. And as I told in, I guess, the first video of this training, CPIDS team consists of like 8 people. So yeah, only 8 like very skilled developers and BTS guys will receive this error type. So I'm not sure. Are there any incidents really? Okay. So there are only two incidents created by Alina herself, so BTS member, and I am pretty sure that those incidents don't have even GSD owner. Yeah, of course, because she opened them and she owns them and she resolves them as well. Okay, yeah, so you see, this is one of 3 KB articles for supply planning. Let's move to the second one. Okay, so we have even business service level 3 field, but it's not required to fill it in the incidents. Don't be scared. It's not PLM. And the article is what is minimum production receipts key figure in IBP. So it's basically like how to article, a small one, describes one particular key figure in IBP, which is obviously quite important. But from the like non-expert point of view, there are like hundreds key figures in IBP, well, at least dozens of them. And not exactly sure why this particular key figure deserves a separate KB article, but it was written by Stefan from TSABP. So let's see. Minimum production receipts is the sum of all production receipts from S4 in the specific time bucket. Okay. It is also an input key figure for supply planning heuristic. Okay, so probably that's indeed quite an important key figure. From S4, we push the production order, production receipts into IBP every 4 hours. Okay. Okay, so again, we're talking about some data which can be initially observed in SAP, and we will get to that point when we will check the data in SAP. But every 4 hours, it should be transferred to IBP as a key figure. So there is some data aggregated from SAP, and it is finalized in these values in IBP. Well, nice to know it. There are no incidents where this task was attached like ever, but maybe it will be useful at some point. I'm not sure. And finally, the third KB article on supply planning is was written by Ivan or Ivan Barba. How to perform capacity planning on European flavor house for NB. I'm not sure what is NB product. I don't know really. NB products in IBP. Well, in this case, we definitely have no access because um, all data related to European flavor house, also known as PLP4, is restricted and only like, I don't know, only maybe BTS teams or even not BTS, but only business business users located in PLP4 factory have usually access to this kind of data. Anyway, this is a how-to article, not really an issue-based article, and it just describes the process of capacity planning. So what is capacity planning? You see those codes like resource ID here, and those resource IDs are actually real machines on the factory. So PLP4 is the plant or location code. 001 is just a number, like there can be two same machines. One will be 001, second will be 002. And the first part of its name, of its code, of resource is usually what it does. So I know that, for example, MP machine is a white category. It stands for make and pack. So those are like packing machines. Uh, but there are, that even um, cigarette making is not like rocket science, I guess, really. So of course it is um, technologically advanced manufacturing, but it's not like nuclear physics, I suppose. But there are, of course, plenty of machines which do the sequence of operations. And of course, we produce not only cigarettes, but also like e-vaping devices like Plume. And of course, the technological process of Plume creation probably involves a lot of steps. So not sure what machines can be ciphered, like encrypted in those codes, but those are actually machines. And so supply planners, as a part of their cycle, they need to check the capacities uh, to be sure that uh, everything can be produced in a normal way. So that's all. So that's all 3 KBs for supply, and you see only one of 3 KBs really has incidents attached to it. And those incidents were created by BTS member who also is a writer of the article. So that's how the situation goes with supply knowledge base. We are really stranding, just wandering in the dark, I would say. And for the incident tickets, we'll just show you the several examples. So obviously, most of the incident tickets for supply, they go to BTS team. And if you will check, most of the tickets which were resolved by GSD either are not related to supply at all and were incorrectly registered, unfortunately, or they are about the access. Because if a person needs access to some supply template or needs a supply role in IBP, yes, we register such ticket as related to supply, but it's like a non-functional one. It's not really related to supply process. And so by all checks, most of the incidents related to functional process of supply are escalated to BTS because, yeah, what else we can do? For example, that's quite a typical looking incident for supply, like IBP, different stock on hand quantity between S4 and IBP. So here probably some data was not synchronized properly between SAP and ABP. Maybe something is wrong with CPIDS regular jobs. We're not sure. So what we have to do in such cases, yeah, also it was processed by Ivory first, but then was processed by Jehu. So what's the best thing we can do in such cases prior to escalating to BTS is first, we should try our best to register the ticket correctly. So you need to check the template or you need to check the type of data and try to determine the business service level two. So is it related to demand planning or supply planning? Also, we will like um, We will discuss the register rules like configuration items, business services available all together in the end of the training. So as for now, you don't have to like uh, learn by heart the business services, but let's just say that you need to identify the business service and category subcategory correct and collect all the data as possible. If the issue is with some key figure data, you need to collect the name of this key figure. You need to collect the market or factory. For example, if it is about the capacity check, then you need the factory. If it is about some demands or like um, I don't know, actuals data or maybe some write-offs. So if it is like a global key figure for the market as a whole, you need to provide the name of market. Then the template ID is great. The material number is great. If we are talking not about materials, but about planning units, you need the name of planning unit. But usually on supply stage, everything is disaggregated to specific material IDs. So you need to get the numbers of materials. So as when you collected as much information as possible, you just escalate to BTS and it's totally fine. Um, so that's also like a typical reply from BTS, like stock mapping has been implemented. This functionality collects stock, POs and PRs into a single location in order to simplify the network. Malaysia market will collect all transactional data. Uh-huh. Well, uh, yeah, sorry, but as for now, at least, we stand no chance here. Well, maybe sometime the knowledge base will be widened. Maybe we will have some additional knowledge transfer from BTS. But as for now, I was talking with some guys from BTS regarding this knowledge gap. And they just say that like the knowledge gap is too big, so it's not like with P2P when you can write several KBs on new workflow types or new workflows, and we are ready to support it, right? So the business process is very, very complicated. There are a lot of nuances for every particular market. So, like, I guess the enormous amount of work should be done to provide all this knowledge to GSD. And I guess in this case, GSD will be like the BTS members, so there will be separate GSD analysts for PLN process, like it probably should be for finance process as well. So maybe that's why in R2R we also escalate a lot of tickets. Well, I am not sure because I don't support R2R, but I know that there are um, whole areas of R2R process, like product costing, like I guess assets accounting, well, you name it. Um, the whole areas which are like mystery for GSD. So basically all we need to do is collect all the information and escalate to correct team. Well, here it is even easier because there is only one team, BTS PLN. So you always escalate to BTS PLN, and inside the team, there are several streams. Like there is a stream for IBP, stream for PPDS issues in SAP, stream for CPIDS, and BTS planning team, they distribute the tickets. For example, I know that Ivan Barba is in IBP stream, so he will not be processing tickets for SAP issues. But for example, let's check the team. For example, Elvira on the opposite side is in PDS stream. So she will be processing issues with SAP, with factory planning, but she will not take incidents for demand and supply planning because she is not an expert in this area. So even BTS members who are focused on the planning process, one and only, they are divided by streams and they do not support each other's like streams. So if well, I'm not going to compromise or like mock on anybody because yeah, of course I cannot be sure, but I think that well, I don't have this confidence that if Elvira would check this incident for supply, she will be able to come up with solution because it is just not her area. So same with R2R, like R2R perf team will not take the incident of BTS R2R ops and so on. So it's just a really strict separation and distribution of scope areas, right? So that's how the incident looks like. Okay. Then another one, IBP volume discrepancy. There is some issue probably with IBP volume discrepancy in 25 template, and 25 template belongs to supply family. So that's how we can tell that the issue is related to supply planning, right? Um, there is a discrepancy in production volumes on different lists of IBP in template 25. Volumes in capacity views are higher than planned in supply view for configuration. Well, okay. So again, we have the planning unit, we have the template, but what do we not have? We don't have the market or a factory. Can we get it from the screenshot? Not really. So what I would ask here is, what is your factory, Alexandra? And what do we do? So Maria escalated this incident to BTS right away. Yeah, so she got the factory PLP2. She has the template number provided by user. Then she has the exact key figure names, like capacity demand is higher than supply view cumulative production. So she described the issue in a really like brief, rational way. And yeah, so the solution from BTS member is capacity consumption rate is not one for the related materials. Master data maintenance should be done in S4. So probably like GSD could be close if we were like better in the understanding of material master data, how it affects the key figures in IBP. But yeah, so BTS PLN will probably not reject such incident ticket because it is clearly a functional question, quite hard for GSD. Then again, the information kind. So user says that he extended some SKU in P40, which means maintain the data for some new factory or just some factory, and made it available for planning, but the data was not uploaded to template 20. well, still quite regular type of issue, and this is the rare type of supply case which we actually could solve on GSD side. So Polina did it. She checked the material master data for this SKU and figured out that the issue was with material status. So we will check the material master data required for PLN later, but this really is like a typical issue. It can be resolved by GSD, and that's quite awesome that we did that without BTS. Okay, and finally, the last incident I wanted to show you. So what do we have here? We have, wow, we have apparently some screenshot from um, web user interface, so not from Exceladin. That is already quite a rare case. It was opened by Kazimierz, who is a member of global planning team headquarters. So there are no doubts that customer is an extremely experienced user in this